Welcome to the segment we call It Takes an Idiom to Know One. Hosted by Sarcastic Scott, Jurassic John, and Artistic Ali. Since you are the master of controversy,
The master of disaster.
Or do you just have
A
an
master of
idiom
disaster?
for us? Jurassic John on the mic.
Yes, I just have an idiom for us. I have other stuff, but you told me not to raise it, so I won't.
Okay.
But I do have an idiom.
Okay, I'm excited.
Ooh, Artistic Ali is also in the house.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Ali.
How are you doing?
Very well.
All right, so John, so what idiom do you have for us today?
Yes, John.
I have don't burn your bridges.
Okay.
Don't burn your bridges.
That's right.
Bridges.
So
Okay.
Ali, what do you think?
what does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean? Don't burn
Yeah.
your bridges.
I mean, I kind of have an idea, but tell me, John, what is the meaning of this first, and then.
So don't burn your bridges means don't do something that doesn't allow you to go back to it.
Okay.
So don't say something, do something which is going to make a relationship with somebody or with something not possible to go back to. So I've got an example, perhaps.
Yeah.
Scott's looking rather confused, so I might have to elaborate. So let's say.
Yeah. What is your example? Then maybe it'll clear it up for me.
Yeah, okay. So in our lifetime, we go from one job to another. And one perhaps wise piece of advice might be when you leave a job, don't burn your bridges with your boss or your previous employer. You may need something from them in the future. You may need a reference. They may speak to a new employer, a potential employer for you. So don't burn your bridges means keep your relationship good.
To leave it on a good note.
Yeah.
So what types of behavior would constitute you burning your bridges?
Yes.
Oh, there'd be lots of good examples of that, I think.
Well, tell us a personal example. How
personal
how
example?
have you burned a bridge?
How have I burnt my bridges?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I don't have a personal example because I would generally advise and recommend my friends and colleagues to not burn bridges.
Okay.
But an example might be you resign, you do your last day at work, and then on your way out, you tell your employer or your ex-workmates that they suck.
Okay.
Yeah, and that you never liked working there, and that you hope you never see them again.
They're horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never like them.
Yeah, this place sucks, and I hope I never see you again.
Okay.
Shut the door.
What about stealing something on the way out?
Yes, that'd be a good example too.
That would be
yeah.
a good example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like take a stapler,
Okay.
like pinch a sticky tape,
Possibly breaking something before you walk out the door?
intentionally breaking something.
Okay.
You know, something that wouldn't be so loud, perhaps like a stem of a flower
Yep.
that's sitting nicely in a vase on the desk.
Okay.
Can you think of an example? Can you think of an example maybe where you've burnt your bridges in the past?
On a job?
Not really.
Would you agree that it's not a good idea to burn your bridges?
It's definitely not a good idea to burn your bridges.
100%.
If you're going to live in the same city
Yeah.
Yeah.
and work in the same type of area or the same type of
Industry.
of industry of job,
Yeah.
right?
So what do you think the origins are, Ali? Do you have a hypothesis?
I mean, okay, so what I think when I hear burning bridges, I don't know why my head always goes to like the London Bridge. But that's one thing. But I think like the origins, if I were to guess, is something about like medieval times, I guess, where, you know, like bridges were one means of traveling, and to burn them is to stop or hinder the enemy, or maybe like stuff like that, I guess.
That's a very good hypothesis.
Well, how long does it take to rebuild that bridge you burned?
Ooh, back then, I don't know.
Well, it's a good metaphor, isn't it? How long would it take to repair a relationship that you burned? It would be quicker to burn it than to repair it, perhaps, or to rebuild it.
Oh, it's definitely quicker to burn it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. One word, it's gone.
What do you think, Scott? Where does it come from?
The origins?
Have you used it actually? Ever?
Yeah, of course I've used all of these idioms in my language. I'm a native speaker, John.
Okay. Well, it's sort of a rhetorical question, Scott. Like, I'm just trying to
It's not rhetorical. Like, of course I've used...
I'm trying to encourage rhetoric.
You shouldn't burn your bridges. Yeah, usually I'm giving it as advice.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to continue in a relationship, or do you want to continue working in this particular field, like, don't upset. Yeah, but in the States, I think this is more relevant. I think in Germany, normally, if we're talking about employment, the person, like a new perspective, like employer, will not call the old one.
Yeah.
I mean, they can.
In the States?
In the States, they do.
Okay.
Definitely. But here in Germany, I've heard, because we've worked with so many unemployed students, they're not that worried about like their last position. If they hated it, if they left it because they were unhappy.
They're more like open, aren't they? Like,
They're more
right. So they don't
direct
think that, and I think by law, by some sort of weird, strange German law, if the previous employer calls, that old employer is not allowed to say something negative, right?
They're obliged to say it in a positive, frame it in a positive way.
So here, culturally, it works for Germans.
Yeah.
To
To be more
It's
direct.
interesting, isn't it? But there's also like an unwritten code,
Yeah.
what an employer can say that indicates something that's perhaps a little negative, but they'll frame it in a positive way.
Okay, give us an example of that. That's interesting.
An example might be about punctuality. Like a previous
That's a good. Yeah.
a previous employer might say, let's call our friend Joe. Joe was Joe respected the work time.
Okay, and that's a negative. Like, he sometimes came late.
I'm not exactly familiar with the code, but I'm just trying to think of an example.
I think that's like a dog whistle to say, like he's not exactly punctual.
Okay, so how would you... Okay, let's talk about computer skills.
Like a secret coded.
Secret coded that the guy really never was comfortable using computer software.
Well, I don't know the code, so I'll just have to think of one myself. But I might say something like, Joe was really good at using Word for Windows.
So now it's just more like being sarcastic. So you have a sarcastic voice.
Yeah.
Meaning just the opposite.
I mean, if
Well, it may be written.
Like you said, like he always came on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very coded. But I think for the computer skills is a good example.
Okay.
Like if I said that Scott was really good at Word for Windows, you'd think, is that all? So it's positive,
Or what about...
but it's really not that complimentary.
I mean,
Okay.
here's another example, though. He's a bit traditional.
Yeah, it's traditional.
It's just a bit traditional.
I'm writing out your reference in my head as we speak.
Oh
Scott.
my God.
For my next...
Scott, don't burn the bridge, man.
Oh, if
Scott's not going to apply for his next job. He's going to get an offer. So he won't need a reference.
that's definitely true.
Yes. I think as a general rule, let's not burn our bridges.
Yes.
No, we shouldn't burn our bridges. But
Makes life much less complicated.
that's true.
Though, John, my question now. I guess hypothesized, but what are the origins of this?
Well, you were spot on, actually, because a traditional war strategy was always to burn bridges of your enemy because that seemed to weaken their strengths. I mean, bridges were also always necessary to cross rivers and so forth. And so, the origins are like war strategy. When did it actually come into the English language? Probably like a lot of written stuff around the 1800s. The exact source, I don't know. But yeah, the original meaning is from a war context. And it makes sense in that regard.
Wouldn't that make it a positive thing, though?
It is a positive thing then.
Yeah.
In order to
Oh, right. As a
ensure
war
victory?
strategy.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
interesting.
Burn your bridges if you want to destroy your enemy. In that sense, yes. But don't burn your bridges if you don't.
Yeah.
So when you're plotting your next attack, Scott, by all means,
I'm thinking
burn
about it
your
right
bridges.
now.
But if we're just talking about relationships, yeah.
Well, I was actually thinking about like a cafe or a restaurant that you got bad service that you would never go back into, and on your way out, you
told them.
you tell them off, you refuse to pay,
Yeah.
you have a shouting match,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
that would be burning your bridges between yourself and that restaurant, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
that's sort of like a
Yeah.
positive.
Would you do that?
I would never do that.
Yeah.
I mean, giving a
Neither
bad
would I, yeah.
review is possible.
Jansu would do that.
Chance would do
No, the last time we went to the last time we got like dürüm döner, there wasn't any meat in hers, and I don't think she asked for like a vegetarian like dürüm. And then we got home, and then we saw that she had no meat, and I said, "Here, let's split this, take half." And she said, "No, I'm never going back there again." And it's
Okay.
the best doner shop in town.
Okay. but
Which
that's
one
not-
is this?
But that's not burning.
Alibaba.
That's not burning.
Oh, yeah.
No,
That's
but
not
now I
burning the
feel
bridges.
she burned my bridge, dude. I can't walk back in there unless it's
Oh.
like secret.
Okay.
Oh.
And I can't bring home one dürüm, man.
Oh, no.
I got to bring home two.
So next time you go out to get dooners, you just insist that she stays home. No, I'll do it. Then you insist that you're going to go to another dooner shop, but secretly go to Alibaba.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Okay.
it's all about strategy.
Ooh, we can get that. Yeah, that is good strategy. Okay. Thank you for listening to Enlingua Podcast, live from Dessau. We hope you stay tuned for more episodes.